is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1, U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
This is a conversation I had with the great Leonard Peltier. Please listen, and happy Indigenous Peoples Day. All right, well, what can I do for you? I mean, is it good to get you letters? We can really promote that.
Well, right now, they're Ruth Buffalo. She's a legislator from North Dakota. She's been doing some awesome.
She's
as you know, then she got the Democratic Convention, the Democratic Convention to pass a resolution demanding my freedom. Unanimous votes, and then she got to see Biden, and she only allowed to ask one question. She asked for him to free me, so he told her to give all the information to his aides.
Wow.
And and so that's what we're right now. We're working on. We're trying to help her. Figure out how. We got to try to help her. Make sure she gets reelected.
Right.
But listen, Robert, I also think this is our time. This is worth finally starting. Every Indian that's been running has been winning.
Yes.
Native, not Indian. That's from India. Indigenous people, right? We just beat in Alaska. I think you know all
that
this.
That was crazy. First time in 50 years.
She beat Sarah Palin. Alaska conservatives' little darling.
Exactly.
And so I mean, we're winning it. But anyway, I believe it's time for us to run her for congressman in North Dakota. I'm not congressman, governor.
Yeah.
I think she can win. I really believe she can win.
Do you have anything to say to her? Because I can relay this.
I just talked to her I talked to her too on the phone all the time.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Excellent. I asked her this about a month ago. She would she be considering running? But she said, "Oh, sure." She needs help. She needs help. Yeah. Huh?
I was in a fundraiser for her a couple days ago, and people were talking about senator. So that would be cool.
Well, either one. That would be very, very useful too. That would be very helpful to our Native nations.
So, what can I do for you? What can I send you anything, or
Well, no, I'm in a very strict place, and there's very little I can do. But listen, I have low points. I should be in a camp, and now the government, courts are saying, the prosecutors are saying I was found not guilty of murder because they don't know who the shooter is, and all this. But now that I'm guilty of aiding and abetting. Aiding and abetting is not even a violent crime.
You should have been out.
So I've done 47 years on a non-violent crime.
I know.
But that's not true. It's just they're making it. That's all they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, they're just making
it up.
I feel so honored that you've called me. I just can't tell you.
Well, I'll be calling you a little bit often now. Okay, then so I can reach you just about any time I call, right?
Exactly. And unless oh my God, I just say something to my audience right now, and then I can put this on the air too.
Okay. Well, what we're doing right now is since Biden has asked the aide to get all of the information from to his aide, and then he's going to bring it to him. But we're trying to set a delegation up to go to. Ruth as one. I want Ruth to go. Then the U.S. attorney, publicly apologized to what he did to me at the trial. Unheard of, first time in history, blah, blah, blah. But, and I don't think I'm my lawyer or the tribal chairman, because they promised to build a house on my land if I get home, right? Mm-hmm. And, these are all the requirements to get out and whatever, Mm-hmm. And, anyway, I also told people, listen, let's help this move along. Let's get 100,000 letters to the president asking him to release me, because there is no, and we got to mention the case. Can't just say, we pray you'll release him. We can't just say, because the Pope has asked for my freedom, and I don't see, and he's supposed to be a Catholic. So we need. Well, some people are saying, the hell with that, let's get 200,000. I said, look, let's just go for 100 first, then we'll keep going, But we need people. I need people to help me that way. Please help me.
Yeah. Well, we'll get postcards out there set up and get the address to the president's office and make this happen. That's a great idea, and that's very simple for people to do. Yeah, it is, just cut some stamp in an envelope and a sheet of paper, but write legibly and make sure that, just tell people, people should mention, instead of just I pray that you let him out and all this stuff. Tell them you're outraged at what they did, because this is the Constitution they violated. And, I mean, if they did this in the military, if they violated the way they did in the military, they get executed. Right. Right.
So I mean, that's how serious of offense it is.
Well, when you get out, it's going to be like Mandela, and the natives are all the natives and Indians across Turtle Island are waiting for this to happen. So here's something tangible that they can do.
Well, I appreciate all that, and I'll do whatever I can when I get out. If I'm allowed to travel, we've got to remember I'm going to probably be on some very strict order. I hope not, but I probably will. But if I don't, I will go and speak to them. I will go and, but I'm not going to stop helping my people. I've been at this all my life, ever since I was 9 years old when I went to boarding school, and but right now I need some help. Take the time to write a letter on my behalf, and let's get 100,000. Then some people are demanding 200,000. Then we'll go for the 200. And more, because they're going to need the votes. They're going to need the support.
Wow.
That's what I need. That's what I need. I need people to help me. To help me now.
Right. And they will, and I appreciate this. I think we're going to be cut off soon here.
Yeah, right. Pretty quick.
I'm going to put that on probably Wednesday. So when I edit this up. But wow, I just feel so honored that you called, and I've been just following you. I was friends with Clyde Belcourt until he passed a couple of years ago. You know all those guys, I know all of them. I was with I was really close to Dennis and Vernon Belcourt. I was real close to them too. But I've been in the struggle since the 60s, bro. 50s, actually, because the Turtle Mountain Chippewa Reservation was the second reservation to be terminated. Menominee, then the Turtle Mountains, right? Yeah. We stopped them there. I was only 13 years old, but my dad and them were all out there raising hell, took over the agency, took us there. You didn't even pay us for what you stole from us, and now you want to take our little reservation? Okay, we're getting close. Yeah. Now you want to take our little reservation? No. That ain't going to happen without a fight, Well, with your
that was 1958.
Well, with your work with the American Indian movement made us young people proud to be Indian, and I want to say thank you.
We put our lives on the line. We put our lives on the line for the people, because we said, what good is of it? We've seen what happened with the Indians that relocated to the cities and stuff. We've seen that. We said we don't want that. And look how good we've done after we did start getting funds of taking care of our own government and everything else like this. We got universities, we got colleges, we got vocational schools, we got homes for elders and retirement homes, and we're using that money. At least most of us are using that money to build a nation. We're not giving it out to the.
That was Leonard Peltier. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Alusa, nation.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we're here with Rachel Thunder, who's doing the Leonard Peltier Walk for Justice, and we're just doing our hopefully our weekly check-in or every other day check-in. It's really exciting to see what you're doing. Welcome, Rachel.
Tante, Robert, and Tante to everybody who's listening. Thank you.
So that's where are you at as of we're pre-recording this on Sunday. Where are you at as of today?
So the walk is about 30 miles west of Toledo, Ohio, as of right now. And our goal is to get into Toledo tomorrow and the beginning of the day on Tuesday. And we'll be having a rally Tuesday at a park there in Toledo, Ohio. That'll be at 2 p.m.
Yeah, that's cool. So just to let everybody know that isn't paying attention or just listening for the first time on our show, Rachel in the American Indian Movement Grand Council has done a walk or doing a walk that started in the Twin Cities and is going to end up in Washington, D.C. on November 14th. And that's a long way to walk, Rachel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we started on September the 1st at Cedar Field, right there next to Little Earth on the south side of Minneapolis, and walking to Washington, D.C., like you said, Robert. It's about 2.5 months total of walking. It's 1,103 miles. We're averaging about 25 miles a day. With our core group of walkers, and like you said, this walk is called Leonard Peltier's Walk to Justice, and it's coming straight out of the American Indian Movement Grand Governing Council. The walk is, we call this a walk to justice because that's what we're asking for. We're asking for justice for Elder Leonard Peltier, for him to be free, but we're also asking for justice for our people, for the Indigenous people, the true and original people of Turtle Island. Justice for them and all of these issues that we still face and have faced since the beginning of colonization. Leonard, he represents a lot of those injustices. They tried to make an example out of him. They tried to say, if you resist us and you resist the system and you resist colonization and, you don't leave your traditional ways behind, then this is what's going to happen. And, it didn't work. Even though Leonard is still in prison, their efforts and their attempts to silence and control our people, it didn't work because we're very much still here. We still have our traditional ceremonies. We still have our languages, our songs, our cultures, our people, our tribes are all intact. Their attempt, it didn't work. So, the only thing that they can do now is let him go.
Exactly. And for you people out there listening, our white allies, and of course our Native brothers and sisters, Leonard was part of the American Indian Movement, which for me, being a 61-year-old man, really inspired a lot of us in my generation because we weren't always proud to be Native American. We hid in the bushes, so to speak, until this proud group of American Indian Movement people came out and said enough's enough, and that's just a short version of it, Rachel.
Yeah, well, Leonard's been in prison for, going on 47 years. He's 78 years old. I'm 31. Every single breath that I have taken, there's been a matching breath from Leonard behind prison walls, behind prison bars. I grew up hearing the stories and hearing what happened. I'm an Ames baby. I grew up in Ames. My parents were in Ames. It's far past time. He's done 47 years for a nonviolent crime for aiding and abetting. It's a nonviolent crime. He's been eligible for parole. And like you said too, I heard you mention like our allies, our white allies and other nation allies. And to that I'll say that, it is an Indigenous issue as far as, what Leonard represents to our people, but this is also a human rights issue, as a human being, that if they can do this to a human being, they can do it to any human being. And I'm pretty sure you probably saw the United Nations Human Rights Working Group report that came out where they had 107 different points on how Leonard's basic human rights has been violated over the years. And they made a direct request to the United States government to respond to them by, I believe, middle of November of this year on what the status was of Leonard Peltier's release. So, and then there was the Democratic National Committee, too, officially adding Peltier's clemency to the Democratic platform, to the running platform, which is unheard of to have a clemency request added to a party's platform. So you see, like, all of these things, happening. This walk is happening. All of these efforts across Turtle Island and the world for Leonard Peltier to be released. And, I know, Robert, you're really big on the native vote. And that's something that, we've discussed, like, strategically as the movement and other, entities and organizations and individuals and legal that we have talked to is, it's really important for these officials that are in these positions of influence, members of Congress, to understand that, they need the native vote. They need the native vote in these states where, that these influential states like Arizona, like Michigan, like Wisconsin, the native vote matters in those states. And if they want the native vote, if they want native vote to show out, then they need to start doing some stuff for native people, like letting Leonard Peltier go. And I know they've got some really important elections coming up, and they might want to be thinking about that instead of just doing acts of tokenism for our people.
That's a really good point. In the last presidential, I was at the Native American Presidential Forum, the first one ever in Iowa, and I was there as a reporter for my show, and I asked every one of the presidential candidates at the time. I just said, I'm going to say 2 words, and I want your response, and it was Leonard Peltier, and I got a lot of mumbo jumbo. I had a few of them that didn't know, and so that's a really good point. We need to bring up these things that mean the most. For me, it would be like having Mandela or get out of prison. This would rally us a big time in a good way and make us all feel good. And I think it's something. Leonard's 78. He's been in there 47 years. Give us this.
Yep, exactly. And, something that Leonard himself really advocates for is the importance of writing and calling the White House. So I know that we've had a lot of people reach out to us, like, about this walk, I can't be there for whatever reason, which is, we understand there's a lot of reasons that people can't be here, but they ask, what can we do? We say call and write the White House. If every single person who was listening to this radio show wrote a letter to the White House demanding the urgency of clemency for Leonard Peltier, demanding his release, and making it an urgent matter, that could be really, really powerful. And so we understand that there's a lot of warriors out there and people who fight for the people, that fight for all people, not even just our people. And, we're putting that call out. If you can't be here on this walk or you can't be present, like at our rallies or in D.C., there's a lot of other things that you can do. And one of them, and one of the most important things you can do, is call and write the White House.
Yes, definitely. And earlier on in the show today, we're having Leonard. We had Leonard on, and that's what he said. We need 100,000 or 200,000 people, and everybody that's listening to the show, and just into justice, need to send the president not prayers. Remove. At the end of our show, Rachel, we always say, "Free Leonard Peltier now." And that's huge because it's justice, like you're doing there. It's justice.
Yep, call and write the White House. Call and write your local members of Congress. House members, senators. Call and write people in the Bureau of Prisons, the Department of Justice. All of those entities that are in those positions of influence to see Leonard's release, write them, put pressure on them. And like you said, Robert, not in a gentle way, because this is urgent. He is 78. He has type 2 diabetes. He has an abdominal aortic aneurysm that's fatal if it ruptures. He had a stroke that he lost 80% of vision in one of his eyes. It's time to let him go home. It's past time. He should have never even been in there to begin with. The only thing that he's guilty of, in his own words, is fighting for his people.
Right. Well, hey, we're here with Rachel Thunder with a Grand Governing Council of American Indian Movement, and she's on the Leonard Peltier's Walk for Justice, which ends up in November 14th in Washington, D.C. Peeny Gigi, Rachel, and happy a day before, and I guess it is today where this will be heard, Indigenous Peoples Day. And thank you so much for what you're doing.
Yep. Thank you, Robert, for having me on. And if anybody wants to get connected with the walk, we have a Facebook page that we do daily updates. You can reach out to us there. That's Leonard Peltier's Walk for Justice on Facebook.
Well, P. Gigi, thanks again. And we'll be in touch again. Thank you so much for spending this time and in really telling our audience and educating our audience. And that's what we're all about here on Native Roots Radio Presents On Wake. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Hi, Bonjour, Ani, and everybody. This is Ogamaganua on Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day to all of you. This is going to be a best of show, and we're kind of taking it easy for Indigenous Peoples Day. So without further ado, we are going to have a replay of our interviews with Bobby Wilson Dews, who is Reservation Dogs and Rutherford Falls writer and actor. So here, have a listen.
Well, I'm really excited to have Bobby Wilson, a 1491er, also Rutherford Falls, and he's got his hands involved in a lot of different things in Hollywood. And I'm just really excited. I want to talk a little bit about what Bobby's doing and how this experience was with Rutherford Falls and all those great things. I'm just really excited to have Bobby Wilson, the character of Wayne from Rutherford Falls and the writer in the first season. Welcome, Bobby. And you're from the Twin Cities. That makes our heart proud too. Great. Thank you so much for being on Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mr. Pilots.
That's right. Well, that's right. We crossed paths back in the 90s there as a teacher. I think I was going outside to smoke a cigarette, and I think you were you were coming in from smoking a cigarette. So what different times we had. But hey, really excited. I love your work, and really you wrote a show. You wrote one of the shows of Rutherford Falls, but also your character's fun. And tell us a little bit how you got hired or how they found you.
Yeah, the showrunner, Sierra Teller Ornelas, she's Navajo. I had done like a panel with her that she was a moderator of that was centered around like the work of the 1491s back in Santa Fe, and that was years ago. And like we kind of had crossed paths here and there, but like Indian country is very small. So yeah, I would just kind of always see her around, and I knew that she was writing in Hollywood, and I always was like, every time I got to see her, I'd be like, how come nobody like knows who you are? Like, you know, I go to all these Indian conferences with the 1491s to do like performances or what have you, and like every time people are like talking about representation, and I bring up Sierra Teller Ornelas being a network comedy writer, people are like, who's that? I've never heard of that. And I'm like, well, freaking like, get familiar, you know, like she's a beast and she's been working at this for a long time. And so she got her own show with Mike Schur and Ed Helms. And she had reached out to a couple of us from the 1491s. We had written a play called Between Two Knees at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland, Oregon. Yeah. It's a familial intergenerational love story that takes place beginning at the massacre of Wounded Knee and culminating at the occupation of Wounded Knee. So everything that happens between those knees is what we see. And she thought she says she loved it. She says she loved it. And so she reached out and asked if I had any writing samples because she had a show that she was trying to put a writing staff together for. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do. I have stuff that I've written just by myself. So I sent it to her. I basically had a job interview with her and Ed Helms, and then on my birthday, November 3rd, 2019, she sent me a message, again, all completely over Instagram, saying that I was hired and that I should get a lawyer to negotiate my contract.
Wow, that's totally awesome. Yeah, tell us a little bit about your character, because I love the character. There's you and a lady working at the casino. I just love it, and just kind of being a kind of a narrative towards one of the lead characters. I just love it. Can you tell us a little bit how that came about, and was there any typecasting?
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, whenever we was coming up with this character, it's Wayne and Sally, and like, I guess they're probably like kind of cousin brother sisters. Like we've been very fluid with like how everybody's related in the show, as we should be, because that's just how it is. But yeah, Wayne is he's kind of grumpy, but also like the subtext is that he genuinely cares about Regan and what it is that she's doing. That's why he gives her shit, is because he loves her. Wayne and Sally, they both treat her like garbage. Even though like it's a little bit like where we talk about crabs in a bucket, we talk about this like Indian jealousy type of thing. We try to touch on those things sort of without calling it that, except in the season finale, we finally actually call it crabs in a bucket. Yeah, well, I love that character, though. All those characters.
Well, I love the fact, and I don't know, we were talking before the show, so I don't know if I mentioned this. I love the fact because I feel like it really has a lot of heart, and it reminds me a lot of Smoke Signals. And in one way, too, there's so much going on. I'm going, I got to watch that again because there's a lot of information coming out here. And during every episode, I was like really surprised. I'd go to my wife. I go, "Did you hear what he just said?" You know, so it's really good because I feel like it's amplifying Native voice. We're still here in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. Oh, wise words from Choka Robert. I'm not Ho-Chunk, but I always like that word.
Right. And you're my Chushka, my nephew. Oh. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit. I know your time's valuable, and let's talk a little bit about the other things you're working on, because this Monday, right, there's another series, a Native-centric series that you're involved in. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, hell yeah. Reservation Dogs on FX. I'm so excited for the premiere. Like, I'm so very excited for so many different reasons that would take like a day to tell you about. But like, I, as one of the writers, I get like access to what they call the dailies. And the dailies are just like it's just when they dump all of the footage onto this server at the end of the day, and I'm allowed to like watch them. And, you know, it's just raw cuts. So it's like every single scene, and it's like them setting it up and blah, 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 blah. But you really get like to see the performances of the actors and whatever. I intentionally didn't watch any of them because I wanted to experience this as a weekly release. I want this to be one of my shows that, because I love that experience. I have like only a couple shows that still do that, you know, that I get to wait for. I'm like, yeah, here comes Saturday. Like, I'm gonna watch my show. And you know, with a lot of streamers, they just dump the whole season on, and you can binge it in like a day or two, you know, if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited to experience this show every week because it is unlike anything I have ever seen on television.
Hey, the trailers are rocking. I'm just going, wow, what?
I know.
Being a big fan of Reservoir Dogs, I mean, seeing the suits and everything, I'm going, hey, what's the deal here? But wow, totally excited. So what are the 1491ers doing?
Well, we're all hired. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. We're doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Ogama, do you have a question at all?
You know, I didn't have a question, but I did want to pop in, you know, talking about Rutherford Falls and the 1491s and those kinds of things. It's really an experience as a Native person to say, they just said that on TV. It takes your breath away because it's these things that are so familiar to us in our lives that are almost never portrayed accurately on the big screen. So it's breathtaking, the kind of work that you're doing. It's really beautiful, and I truly appreciate it. I've been talking about we need more real Native representation in media for a long time. So thank you for your work.
Well, and then the episode that you wrote was called
Skoden.
Oh, yeah. Right on. We won't talk about that, though. We'll keep that on the low pro, but all our natives know what's up. So how is that experience? I mean, how is it an experience? Because you're going to be writing for Reservation Dogs, too, right? And how's that experience? We only got a minute left, but how's that experience thinking up an idea, putting it on paper, and then seeing it on video or on the screen? How is that experience? Is that like, wow?
Mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing, man. I mean, like, you do all this stuff, like, I don't know, you it's all in your head. You write it, you edit it, you talk about it. And, like, the writing experience is you write for 20 weeks. And, like, you just hope that it's still funny by the end of that, because by then you've edited all the jokes, and you're like, is this still a good story? I remember laughing when I first came up with this. And then you see the actors bring it to life. You see all the people involved in the production. Hundreds of people put this stuff together. They literally built a casino interior in Hollywood, you know?
Yeah.
It looked like a cheap-ass casino. And it looks so good.
Right.
I remember I walked in there and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I had goosebumps by how incredible it was to see this thing form and become reality, and then to like turn it on TV and like watch it with my daughter, and she's like, looked at me, she looked at the TV, she's like, what's going on here? Like, it's truly phenomenal, and it's mind-blowing.
Well, let's talk about Reservation Dogs, and we gotta fly. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and Bobby, that's coming up this Monday, right?
It's coming up this Monday, filmed entirely on location in Oklahoma, the Muskogee Creek Nation. Ooh, I'm not one of them, but you know, I go there a lot. So,
Peeny Gigi for being on.
Yeah, P. Damaya for having me.
Hey Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
The Native American Community Development Institutes Make Voting a Tradition is a culturally specific, year-round, multi-generational approach to increase voter turnout and civic engagement. The fundamental principle of MVAT is that Native Americans are more likely to become politically active when engaged by peers and family. MVAT has created partnerships with local, statewide, and national efforts to increase turnout in BIPOC and other traditionally low turnout groups. Go to NACDI.org, NACDI.org to learn more.
At Metro State University, students learn from expert instructors in high-demand degree programs such as healthcare, technology, cybersecurity, teaching, and business. As one of the most diverse universities in Minnesota, Metro State University is a flexible learning environment dedicated to equity, inclusion, and anti-racism. Explore more than 60 high-quality undergraduate programs at Metro State University's Open House, online October 11th through 13th, and in person October 19th and 20th. Visit metrostate.edu for details.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. We're so blessed here to have Bobby Wilson of Rutherford Falls, 1490 Oneers, and also of Reservation Dogs. And let's finish up our conversation a little bit, Bobby. Thank you so much for being on again. Let's finish up we're wrapping up the season of Rutherford Falls, and you're about to do some voiceover work, some dubbing. And then how fun is this, Mr. Hollywood, huh?
Oh man, how fun is it? Shoot, man. I can't quantify it, but these are the best days of my life.
Right on. So how many, do you know how many shows Rutherford Falls is going to have when their season opens? Is it 8 again?
Yeah, it's a 8-episode season.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's go into Reservation Dogs, and I know that's a huge hit. In you guys were re-upped for another season. I think I guess my first question is, how did it feel as working with Jumbo working with Mr. Farmer? I mean, I'm like enamored with you, but I can't imagine working with him and thinking nothing but smoke signals.
Yeah, man. Gary Farmer is a legend, not just for Indians, but I realized for white people who are super into cinema, Gary Farmer is still a legend. I mean, look at his filmography, Dead Man, the Jim Jarmusch film from way back, starring him and Johnny Depp. And really, more than Johnny Depp, that is Gary Farmer's movie. He's incredible in like everything that he does. And so he's actually in an episode of Rutherford Falls season 1. He plays my uncle. We don't actually interact together in that episode, but I remember the set writer, and mind you, this man, the set writer, the production writer that day, he was like a joke writer for Kimmel. He was he's been writing on big network comedies for many, many years. And he comes to me and he says, dude, that's Gary Farmer, and I want to give him a note, but also, I kind of don't. I'm a little bit scared to talk to him. I'm like, why are you scared to talk to him? He goes, are you kidding me? Have you seen Dead Man? That's Gary Farmer. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So it was fun. I think if this was my first time with him, I might have been a little bit more nervous, but I've had weird like run-ins with Gary Farmer because he's just that legendary over the years. The first time I ever went to Santa Fe, New Mexico, I saw him perform as Gary Farmer and the Troublemakers, his band.
Wow.
And he was like his own roadie, and me, Sterling Harjo, and Ryan Redcorn got like shamed into like, because we were like standing there watching him, and it was like, wow, man, how old do you think he is? Look at that, he's so big, he's like carrying all his own equipment still. And somebody says, well, go over there and help him, that's your elder. And we were like, oh shit, we all got up, and we went over, helped him out, and I was like, wow, that's Victor's dad. And then, you know, I would always see him just like randomly in places. I ran into him once in the Twin Cities at the Indian Center. I like freaking seen him just like on the streets in Santa Fe, just bopping around. And then to have him in Reservation Dogs was absolutely phenomenal. I had been in love with this character already, Uncle Brownie. Like, I knew exactly like this is going to be amazing. This is such a crazy character. And what a, like, to get Gary Farmer to play that character, what a blessing, what a trip. And I'll tell you what, man, that scene, I'm smoking him down. You know, he's trying to sell me his old weed that he found, that he buried in his lawn like years ago, you know what I mean? And sorry, I said I wouldn't cuss. I keep forgetting. It's just my natural way of speaking. But so he goes to the dispensary, and my character Jumbo is like, I can't buy this, man. Like, or no, I test it out, and it just like kills my throat. I'm just like
harsh out.
And he's all good stuff, yeah. And I'm like, no, man, no, I can't buy this, you know. And it's an antique. And then Paulina Willie Jack, she goes, hey Jumbo, like, why don't you smoke Uncle down? And I'm like, oh, I got something for you. I pull out this big bong. And, you know, it's funny, like, on the set, we're not smoking actual, like, THC weed, but we are smoking weed. But it's like the O'Douls of weed. It's just CBD. It's purely CBD. There's no, like, whatever the stuff that gets you stoned in it. Yeah. But it's actual, like, weed and plant, you know? And so, like, we stuff it in there. And Gary tells me right before we start filming that part, goes, I can't just fake it. I can't fake it. It's not going to look good. It's not going to look good. And, you know, people are like, you don't have to hit it. You don't have to hit it, Gary. It's fine. Like, he's got an actual lighter. He can actually hit it. It's a real bong. And he's like, they're like, we'll just, you know, with effects, we'll make the smoke come out. It'll look real. And he's like, no, it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad. So I'm actually going to hit it. And I see him go for it. He fills that whole bong full of smoke all the way up. And I'm like, oh my, fills the whole bong up. He pulls that sucker out and he freaking clears it. All the smoke goes up. And he just like coughs his smoke everywhere. And like inside, I'm going, oh my God, like this man is gonna die. But I don't want to mess up the scene because he just did this crazy thing. And so I'm just like, hey, you know, really just trying to play into it and not ask him if he's okay and wants to sit down. And he looks at me in his eyes, he's just like, there's just tears running down his eyes. There's snot coming out of his nose. He's drooling and he goes, it's good stuff.
That's awesome.
Poor guy.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, no, you know, it was amazing.
You know, from the days of Powwow Highway to, you know, it's just it's really great to see. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Way-o, way-o.
Can you hear me?
Everybody say way-o. Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Okay, go. Wow. Bobby, that was a great story. Just working with those icons and the Native American voice getting out there in comedy. And I just want to say thank you so much for doing that. We got another minute or two here. Can you just, are you excited for Reservation Dogs like I am? What's the vibe going on?
Oh man, I am so freaking pumped about season 2. It is bananas. Like getting a second season of a show, like gives you so much permission to do so much more, especially with how successful season 1 was of Reservation Dogs. It's like going into we start filming in Oklahoma in mid-March, and we're going to go until May. I get to be on set this whole time as a production writer, which I'm super pumped and super nervous for, but it's going to be great. I can't wait. You know, I got Migazi Pensino and Tazba Chavez as my cohort for production writers. So, you know, they've got a lot of seasoned experience on me. So I'm so freaking excited to see how insane this thing is.
If you need an old Ho Chunk to come down and do a cameo, let me know. I'll fly down on the first plane.
Yeah.
Choka Pilot
We'll
will
see
come on
you
down.
there, Choka. Yeah. I can't wait for the junior elder scene. Do I bring him a plate? Do I not? I don't know.
Yeah, he gets his own, I think.
Yeah.
or the junior elder like myself just looks sad when the other elders are getting their plates. So I'll practice doing that. But yeah, appreciate you spending some time with us. And really, you're making us here. I know you're an old Enda Young employee too. I got to give you a shout out on that. You and Dallas, which blows my mind. Which blows my mind. That organization's still going on, and I have a lot of former students that are working there, and it's a great legacy that you had.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's freaking crazy to think about staying at Enda Young as a teenager, and then now I'm just like, I don't know, writing TV and getting flown around to be on it. I'm freaking blessed, man.
You are, and
my ancestors every day.
Pinigigi, you are blessed, and we're blessed to have you on. And thank you so much for all you do, and all the good words and the great spirit that comes through you and your characters and your writing. I really, really appreciate this time.